So in order to change the mindset, that is to instill dignity of labor in people's minds, as well as to change their mindset that in order to have the right work ethics, they need to pay back the loan that they've been given, or they need to be responsible to their society, to their economy, to the coming generation, in terms of supporting people, supporting themselves, and supporting the elderly and all that. What do you think would be the solution in terms of changing mindset?
The government is everywhere the same, because you need a pressure group to guide the government also, because the government itself is not going to solve this problem. They have, and we need a political will also, like we need a person who has the political will to bring a change in society.
Okay then, Mr. Thomas, is it just the political will, and is it just organizations, anything else that can change the mindset of the people?
Actually, it's a very holistic approach, no? Because political will without people supporting it, or say without people showing by example, you live by role models, as somebody rightly pointed out. So I think each one of us have a responsibility to the society to start doing some work, be it manual labor, or maybe even in the offices we have to be inculcating work ethics. The amount of work that we put in, we should be paid according to that. I just cite an example. Many of us have servants, and we don't even work in our kitchens, and we employ laborers to do even small work. In other countries, from what I have seen also and experienced also, we have to carry our own workload. We have to carry, they don't employ laborers to carry their loads, and also they don't keep servants. So I think we have to inculcate this spirit in our society so that work culture is imbibed from childhood, because our children grow up thinking that it is the way of life, and they don't really put labor into it. We are only concentrating on a few fields. Maybe we are talking of agriculture, but we have not even diversified into horticulture or medicinal plants. There are a whole lot of things where Nagas can get self-employment and bring dignity to ourselves. Yes. But we are not doing that.
So basically to show by example to the younger generation.
Exemplary way of living.
And what about Mr. KV? What is your take on this?
There has to be a two-pronged, a solution to this. One is as you have said, the attitude, the mindset. The other is giving the opportunity. The two has to be available, because one without the other will not succeed. Now, we had earlier talked a little bit about government jobs. Now, government jobs is good, but is only very, very limited. And so my advice would be, don't put too much hope on it, because as the NPSC example will show us, for about 100 posts, there are 10,000 applicants. And this will only grow worse. And therefore, our real hope lies in the other sectors. And I'm happy that so many youth organizations, many of you who are representing them today are here. And therefore, I think it's important that we keep on, so one way or the other, with new innovations, developing this work ethics and providing opportunities as well. For example, I just want to mention this because when we say promoting the work ethics, I'm happy to inform you today that in the education department, they have decided to make life skills a full-fledged subject. I think that's a very good thing. And starting now, we hope that life skills will become it'll be a good platform to sort of promote these ethics. Coming to the opportunities, for example, there are certain opportunities but which are not so relevant or practical. There are others which are very relevant and practical. For example, I always talk about hair cutting. With an investment of maybe a few hundred rupees, because a scissor and a comb is enough, your earning is so good. Why not promote these opportunities?
But there is one question, and there is an observance that many people from our state and from outside, elders and so many technocrats, dignitaries, so many people, social workers have pointed out. Nagas lack consistency. Can you agree with me on that, Hekani? There are haircutting salons started under the CM's Corpus Fund. They started doing so well, their charges were reasonable, but within 2 years, they are no more. Now, if you go back to cut your hair in that salon, it is probably a chemist shop and a bakery, which seems to be flourishing in our state now. What do you have to say there?
With regards to consistency, there's nothing wrong in not being consistent. Seriously, actually, because when you look at the West, people they're changing jobs like crazy, right? At the age of 50, they go back to school, So I think it's nothing wrong. As long as the important thing is, if they're doing a job and they're not happy with it and they want to do something else, I mean, that's really nothing wrong. So I think that should not be an excuse. Of course, yes, but we have to also understand, if his job or her job is not doing well, and this is business, he has to make profit, and if he's not doing well, he might as well look for something else. But I want to make a point on the loan thing, because that is very, very important. At this point of time, many people, because of the system, we still have to depend on the government for so many things. Because if the private sectors were in Nagaland, then young people would really not look for the government for help or assistance. But at this point of time, we all know that's not the point. So everyone is looking at the government. Now with the issue of loans, we have to understand that government is only a facilitator. Right? They make programs. They're concerned about young people and they're concerned about unemployment. So they're going to be, making different programs. But again, government is only a facilitator. If you would see any government, not just in India, but around the world, international also, whenever government make program, you have to have a cell which is monitoring and evaluating. And most of the time, these are done by third party, which is not necessarily part of the government. In case of Nagaland, this does not happen. You can't expect the government to go and checking whether the young people are doing well or not. You have different roles. It's the role of the NGOs. And NGOs here in Nagaland, it's totally a different, we have just spoiled the definition of NGOs. Any young people or any group who are jobless and they don't know what to do, then they form a society. And there are around 40,000 odd society registered, doing nothing. But in the strict sense, good NGOs support the government. They are the watchdog, as well as assisting the government with research work, monitoring, evaluating, and that is how it works together hand in hand.
Correct.
That is lacking in Nagaland.
See, I would like to, progress with the discussion more on a debatable note. I would like to request all of you to come in with your views, both pro and con, so that we are able to, bring about a mindset change if possible, or, just to broaden our thoughts on dignity of labor and especially the work culture in Nagaland. What do you think? Is it okay for us to continue as we are continuing now, or should there be a drastic change in whatever we are doing now?
I think we need to have a very, very drastic change. Like we were discussing about the government loans and all. But we must also remember that the government provides that loan to a few hundreds, and the applicants are in terms of tens of thousands. And what do we do with the remaining tens of thousands of those people who do not even avail this government loan? Because these are the people that I think makes us to discuss the dignity of labor and to discuss the work culture. And coming back to the work culture that one of our colleagues has pointed out about giving opportunity to the young people. I think the one who gives the opportunity to the young people should also understand the work culture. Because, see, many of our people in our state, they make a lot of money, and to get that a lot of money, they spend a very, very less amount of money, right? So what they do is, earlier also we were discussing about negotiating the prices for employing the local laborers and all like that. But the people who has to provide the opportunity to our people should also understand that they, instead of making too much excess profit, they should also have the generosity to pay these laborers according to what they have done, how much they have done. So if we can understand that, the employer and the employees, if they can understand one another, the employee should also understand that I get paid according to how much I have worked. The employer also understands that I have to pay him or her according to how much he or she has done.
There is a labor law which states exactly that. It's just that it's not being enforced in our state for now. Because our economy is so inconsistent and dependent on the government, it is very difficult for that to be enforced. Yet there is a beginning.